Greetings to everyone on the channel Real Facts. Today we will talk about amazing animals which are albino. White animals always seem special to people. Many people consider them to be magical, and seeing such rare animals is incredibly lucky, even a blessing from God. And this is not surprising because in the world there are not so many albinos and other all-white species. Life in the wild is the reason. They often cannot survive in the wild because of their unusual color. Albinos are rare, and this fact makes them more valuable, and their unusual appearance seems especially beautiful. Do you not believe? You can see right now. Here we go. Raven and crow albinos. They are quite rare, and they are even considered to have magical abilities. Albino crows are usually as curious as their black and gray cousins, but due to the lack of pigment, they are very sensitive to sunlight. It is also difficult for them to find a mate, so very often a person who gives them love and care becomes their friend. Peacock. As for peacocks, it is hard to say whether some of them are albinos or if it is a genetic mutation called leucism that is the absence of pigment. Both albino peacocks and peacocks having leucism are completely white, but albinos have red or pink eyes, while leucists have blue eyes. Albino alligators. Although alligators are extremely common in swamps and lakes in Southeast America, you probably will not find albino alligators. In fact, there are only about 20 to 30 albino alligators and alligators with leucism in the world. All of them live in captivity. Why are there no albinos in the wild? The answer is very simple. Their bright white appearance in the dark waters of swamps and lakes makes them the main target for natural predators and hunters. Squirrel. As for squirrels, their color varies greatly depending on the species. However, albino squirrels are extremely rare, no matter what type it is. Giraffe. In 2017, the world was delighted when a video appeared on the internet with two albino giraffes in Kenya. It was an absolutely white mother giraffe and her baby. Albino giraffes attract a lot of attention because they are very rare in nature. Owl. This wonderful creature directly from the Harry Potter films was first discovered in 2016. The albino owl does not have pigment in its skin and feathers, and its eyes are bright red, and blood vessels can be seen through its pupils. Ladybug. If you are ever lucky enough to see an albino ladybug, it will be either a 15-dotted ladybug or a gray ladybug. They even have different names. They also darken over time. Buffalo. In Indian religions, white buffaloes are considered to be sacred, although they are extremely rare. The National Bison Association estimates that they appear approximately 1 out of every 10 million individual buffalo. Albinism affects not only terrestrial animals. Sea creatures such as humpback whales can also be without pigmentation. Albino whales have been spotted off the coast of Australia and Norway, but they travel incredibly long distance in search of nutritious plankton. Depending on the health of the plankton they consume, these whales may have a yellowish tint on their skin, but when they return to their native waters and to their usual plankton, their skin again becomes completely white. Ferret. The process of domestication of ferrets began almost 2,500 years ago. Today, ferrets are completely domesticated. Albino ferrets are very popular pets. Gorilla. In 1966, an albino gorilla was caught in Equatorial Guinea. Then he was transported to the Barcelona Zoo, where he was given the name Snowball. In 2004, he died of skin cancer, which was because of his albinism. Sea turtles. The population of sea turtles is declining across the globe. They are quite high in the world ranking of endangered species, and as for albino sea turtles, they are extremely rare. In fact, they are so rare that they've only been photographed just a few times. In general, an albino sea turtle is an absolute uniqueness. The cobra is often considered to be one of the most dangerous predators of nature, as it is ideally masked when it is waiting for its prey. However, camouflage is not suitable for an albino snake. Such a cobra must undergo special training in captivity, as albinism prevents snakes from living in the wild. However, albinism does not make their poison any less deadly. Did you know that in Australia there are 2 times more kangaroos than people? But despite this, it is very rare to meet an albino kangaroo there. Although most kangaroo albinos are held in captivity, it was reported that a wild albino kangaroo lives near the Australian capital. He seems to be about 2 years old, which is very rare for albino kangaroos. Albinism predisposes them to problems with hearing and eyesight, which makes their life outside of captivity almost impossible. Bat. Bats are usually gray and black, but in 2012, a white bat with red eyes was spotted in Masbate, an island province of the Philippines. Koala. Koalas are one of the calmest animals in the world. They spend almost all of their time either sleeping or eating, which make it even more charming for human observers. Well, a completely white albino koala is somehow even prettier. People believe that in the wild there are still albino koalas, but so far only one animal has been found. An albino koala lives in the San Diego Zoo. Its name is Onya Buri, which is translated as ghost boy among native people. Scientists are now studying this rare animal. Hedgehog. Domesticated hedgehogs became popular in the early 1980s. After that, several new species of these mammals were bred. They are of different colors, including albino. Lions. Oh yes, another animal as if descended from an illustration of a fairy tale or an ancient legend. White lions are extremely rare, although they are not albino. However, this is not a separate subspecies, but a specific polymorphism with a genetic disease. Yes, again, it is leucism, causing a lighter coat color than the color of ordinary lions. White lions can be found in the environmental areas of South Africa, but most often, like other white creatures, they live in captivity, simply because it is almost impossible to survive in the wild when you have such light fur. No hunting, and therefore no food. And at the same time, a white lion is an easy target for poachers who will be so happy with such prey. But in the zoos, these rare predators feel quite comfortable and even successfully breed. For example, in 2015, in the zoo in Toronto, white lions had several cubs at once. Chameleons are known for their superior camouflage power. Their ability to change their colors allows them to harmonize with any environment. However, an albino chameleon is deprived of this ability and remains bright white regardless of its environment. This is also very rare because it is extremely difficult for such chameleons to survive in the wild because they are not able to disguise themselves. Zebras are known for their distinctive black and white stripes. Although scientists are still trying to figure out the nature of the appearance of this famous color, they definitely know one thing. Some zebras, although rare, may develop such a type of leucism that gives them a pale, almost white appearance. Like albinism, leucism is a partial lack of pigment that gives blonde zebras their unique golden hue. In 2018, the world was delighted when an albino dolphin was spotted in Monterey Bay in California. It was a young dolphin who was swimming accompanied by hundreds of his relatives. They first talked about him in 2014 and called him Casper, and at the moment, this is the only documented albino dolphin. Penguins. If crocodiles, whales, and peacocks are white, why not an albino penguin? Yes, since childhood, we're used to seeing black and white penguins, but a very unusual specimen was discovered near the South Shetland Islands. Tourists of the National Geographic Journey to Antarctica cruise saw a strange penguin, either an albino or a blonde. As they found out, this also happens in nature. Scientists suggest that the unusual individual is not an albino, but the result of a genetic mutation that dissolves pigment in penguin feathers. Some call it isobelinism. Isobelinism is when dark colors become light colors. It changes the plumage into grayish yellow or pale brown. The unusual color of the creature does not disturb them in their everyday life. They are as active as their relatives and also successfully reproduce. But the most interesting thing is that a blonde penguin is not unique in nature. Another blonde penguin was spotted in a colony at the Chilean station Gonzales Videla. The penguin belongs to the subantarctic penguins and is even an unofficial symbol of the station. The official name of the penguin is Marilyn Monroe, but they say that the polar explorers were mistaken a bit. It turned out to be a male. Orangutan. The only known albino orangutan in the world is Alba. In 2017, he was found in the jungle of Indonesia. After that, he spent 20 months in an orangutan rehabilitation center on the island of Borneo, and then he was released into the wild. At first, the employees of the center were worried about his life in the wild, but now they are sure that Alba will be able to survive in nature. Mysterious appearances of albino deer makes them look like fantastic creatures from the movies. And taking into consideration how rare they are, we could even consider them to be magical creatures. Sightings of albino deer have only been reported a few times, mostly in the Alaskan desert, but they look amazing. Often dogs with merle or pinto fur are mistakenly considered to be albinos because their fur has white spots. However, in order for a dog to be considered a real albino, it should not have melanin in its skin, fur, or eyes. As a rule, they have a completely white coat, blue eyes, and pink noses. Due to the lack of pigment, dogs with albinism need additional protection from harmful sunlight. Their skin and eyes can be extremely sensitive. That is all, friends. Click like and write in the comments whether you have ever seen an albino animal.